But why the bees swarm? You know, this is in the swarming season right now. They'll tell me there are not too many swarms around the Abilene area where he is. Wilford has been hearing some about a number of swarms that they're swarming. Have any of you got reports of a lot of swarming? One? Okay, they're swarming some. I don't know what they're going to live on around here, but you know, and by and large, you know, the survival rate of swarms is not all that great. Over a year's time, a lot of surviving the first year is very difficult for some of these swarms. So a lot of those expire due to a lack of being able to get ready for the winter time and getting enough preparation done in the colony for that. But it's a natural propagation of the species, this swarming. It's been going on for, I've forgotten how long now. I can't remember that far back. They tell me millions of years, and that's hard for me to connect with all of that. But as long as they have history of beekeeping, they have done this propagation of the species by issuing swarms. It's a survival, divide and conquer. So they have kept their species going that way. Why do you think bees swarm? What would cause bees to swarm?
Too little space.
The what?
Too little space.
Too little space. What else? I jotted down a few things here that I thought.
Number of bees.
The number of bees, crowded brood area. Crowded brood area. Sometimes causes an atmosphere with the bees that we call them swarm. What about starvation? You know, if there's nothing going on, the bees sometimes, I understand this, you know, they try to move themselves somewhere else if they're starving. So they issue a swarm and try to survive somewhere else. They try to escape pests, especially since we've got the varroa mite and the small hive beetle. Those two in particular really pester honeybees. So it may be those that might cause it. A failing queen sometimes will cause them to issue a superseder swarm, and they'll try to renew their existence with a new queen and get rid of the old queen through superseder. So all those things are, those are some of the things that would cause them to swarm. But prevention of swarming is probably the best thing you can do as beekeepers for your own benefit. Because if you have the bees in the box when they need to be, instead of out in a tree or bush somewhere, you're going to have a greater chance of the bees being productive. So, and that's another subject. We're not going to talk about swarm prevention because that's a total different subject. There's a couple of types of swarms. At least I call them types. There's the primary swarm, and then there's secondary or after swarm that they're most commonly called. The primary swarm is issued usually with the old queen, and a rule of thumb is somewhere around maybe half the bees in the colony, and they leave, and in the meantime the parent colony is raising a new queen to reestablish the population in the colony. And then the subsequent swarms are issued after that. Sometimes they'll issue, I've witnessed them issuing several swarms out of the same colony, even to the point that parent colony is almost out of existence because of lack of bees. In some years, and I remember one year particularly that happened, that the bees would swarm 3 or 4 times or more. And there'd be hardly any bees left inside. But those subsequent swarms are generally smaller in number as compared with the primary swarm. And they usually emerge with, they come out swarm with an unmated queen, or maybe more than one unmated queen. I have seen as many as 3 or four in a swarm, and they'll do that sometimes.